Good afternoon, Mr. Max.
Good afternoon. That looks like a good cup of Joe there you got.
I'm
Oh,
trying to look
that's
like I've
iced coffee.
grown up, but if we're being truthful, it's just Diet Coke. I always say that I'll eventually drink coffee one day when I grow up. How's things on your end today, Mr. Max?
Well, we're doing pretty good. We're excited about getting these things rolling and getting everybody, get a lot of messages and text and people on the Zoom calls that we're having, and just people wanting to get on a wait list to kind of get set up with this new Owner Circle recruit funnel sites that we've got. And, it's been going really good. And we're just kind of getting to the point where we're ready to relaunch this whole recruit leads back up into opt, and we're gonna get ready to do that soon. And so we're really excited about that. A lot of people got their standing lead orders in over there, so they'll be getting filled up. Going to try to get that launched out about into the first week in April, so that all those leads are going up in opt and people can start getting those recruit leads and working them.
Love it, buddy. There's been so much excitement. I've had so many people reach out and request that wait list, and I know you've put together a simple form that we can all use. So if you don't mind, I'm going to try this, Max. I can't promise anything.
So you're going to click on that link and let's see what it does.
Can everybody see that okay?
Not yet. There we go. There we go. So all that's really saying there, Mr. Spivey, is that those that are wanting to talk about getting their self set up with the new Owner Circle recruit funnel site, the Owner Circle site with the recruit funnel add-on, getting that set up where we're integrating with the automation and getting it hooked up with ZipRecruiter. We've got a wait list for those that are interested in doing it. We're probably taking about 20 a week right now, and those that are interested in doing it. And then on this new thing that we're doing, where we're relaunching all these opt leads, these recruit leads up to opt, I wanted to give everybody kind of about a week or so here to get prepared for it, because I know everybody's going to be getting down there to Cancun, and we want to have all the managers back and ready to allocate all these new recruit leads coming into opt to their agents. And so April 7th, we're going to launch that, where those leads will be coming in into opt, so that people can get prepared to not only be prepared to start contacting these, but have the managers ready to allocate them to their agents, because I know that has to be done. It's so important to get to these recruit leads right away, right? They're real-time leads. They're coming in. Somebody applied today. You want to get in there and opt. You want to have those recruit leads allocated. You want to be able to contact them right away. And you guys know that the quicker we get to these people, the better. And we've got it all set up in HQ for people, that all they got to do is go get that little email that's sent out with the video links in it that you can email the leads that you've got. It's got a little script for you to follow, so that if you're new to interviewing, you can do that. All the things that you're going to need and the tools that you need to take these leads, recruit leads out of opt and efficiently communicate with them are right there in HQ under the builder's corner. And if you take that information, you just simply follow the steps, get your leads out of there. I think you'll start building your confidence level up in your interviewing process, and you'll start seeing some people come on your team.
Very nice, man. I know that there's a lot of excitement around that. We wanted to go ahead and start making sure we're getting this message out to you all. Coming back from many of us who will be down in Cancun celebrating tremendous accomplishments back in 2019 production. Due to the COVID world, Max, the world got a little bit weird. We're a little bit behind on our destination trips, but we're fired up to get down there and celebrate, guys. So coming out of that week, the following week, be ready for this, hitting the recruiting leads becoming back up, and more so than ever before. Max has done a lot of good work behind the scenes with the team. So April 7th, everybody needs to be prepared. For those with standing lead orders, make sure you're ready, because the spigot will be turned back on. Any significant differences that we should expect, Max? I know you've worked hard on behind the scenes on increasing volume.
You know what we've been doing, and I get that question a lot, and I'm glad you asked that, Todd. If you think about what we've done is we've got a good advertisement for people that are looking to get into the insurance sales business. And so when they come through this, they see an ad that's advertised on all the job boards. They'll see some from Indeed and some from ZipRecruiter and all over the place. Most of them will come from Indeed and ZipRecruiter. And when you get a lead, they're gonna have had the opportunity to investigate Symmetry and go to the Symmetry site and things like that. But the thing about it is, it's not really any different, Todd, than any other thing that somebody may have their own account where they might be advertising. These are just this way. You don't have to have a ZipRecruiter account. You don't have to have a budget for that. You can just get in there, get your standing lead order set up. It's the same exact lead if you did have an account. It's the same lead that all of the managers that do have accounts with ZipRecruiter are getting. We get them from all over the country, so we can allocate those by the state, and it's really starting to really pick up a lot. And so we were able to get the volume ready to go and crank back up. We know that we've got some people that have been waiting on their standing lead orders. I get messages all the time for it. I just wanted to be sure the quality of the candidates that were coming through, along with the volume of the candidates, would be sustainable for us, and that's where we're at now. We can increase that as the new standing lead orders come in for the recruit leads. So we're excited about that. I'm talking on Fridays on a Zoom call that I have. Sometimes I may be out of town and maybe my team members will handle that, but on just some recruiting fundamentals and running, just working with Brian Williamson and his recruiting efforts in Summit with reference to recruiting 101 and 102, and then, utilizing this system, whether it's automated or manually, because we want everybody to have the opportunity to recruit, regardless of what position they're in, when they first come in, how long they've been here. So this is going to give us the opportunity for everybody in the whole company to be able to recruit and get leads off of Opt. And if they'd like to set up an account through the automation and get them a recruit funnel set up, then we've got a waiting list for that. And that's been going really well with the people that we've got in there. So we're very encouraged by all the good stuff that's been happening, Todd.
Yeah, fired up for that. And sorry I went backwards on you first, Max, but you handled it like a pro. But for all those interested, I know last week Max Day mentioned that there was a capability right now where upwards of about 20 managers a week that we can get up and moving on the platform. And so Max went in with the team guys to create us a link here so that everybody can get signed up. We'll know who's interested. You don't have to reach out to me. You don't have to reach out to anybody in the home office to request to be put on the waiting list and be next to get into the training as soon as possible. If everybody will take out your pens and papers and write down this address for symmetryagentcareers.com/manager-waitlist.
Todd, just so while we're doing that, one thing to be able to differentiate is that when you sign up for this wait list, we've got this thing integrated with the automation piece, meaning that you get a job board account set up with ZipRecruiter. Maybe you're co-oping it with 2 or 3 people. It has a minimum of $2,000 a month spend. A lot of people are doing 2 or 3 people on those. Some are doing them by themselves. When you get set up on this, all your emails, when a lead comes through, they get an automatic email, an automatic text. We've got it set up now if they want an automatic phone call, where as soon as they apply, these things are happening in real time. We've got their calendar integrated with it. So once they get on the calendar, it'll stop sending those emails and text. And then some of the best practices on how to make sure that the people that are on your calendar show up. So, and all of the other things that we've got along that business tracker. So we go over those things on Friday as well. And so it's an option. And we've got a lot of people still using this manually very successfully, just taking that document out of HQ, getting some leads in from Opt, sending that email out. day one, day two, day three, email and text and phone call. And that's really why the 12-step process is really starting to increase people's calendar fills, and obviously the packets out and packets back. So we're real excited about people participating, but we want to let everybody know that it doesn't matter what level or where you want to come in at, we've got an option for you.
Love it, love it. We had so much positive feedback from last week's call, Max, and from some folks that have adopted new systems, some people that have really poured into ramping up the recruiting efforts, and wanted to give you a chance. I know we got rushed last week, but any additional points, any additional words of wisdom that you'd like to depart upon us for ways that we can all increase our recruiting activity?
Yes, absolutely. You know, one thing that I've been talking to managers about, and I think a lot of it has to do with it. First of all, you want everybody to understand why something works. And the reason things work is that in life in general, we want to be communicated with. And so when somebody's applying and they come through maybe a job ad, and you know, they're looking for a job, so they're wanting somebody to talk to them right away. They're looking to be communicated. And so when they get an email right away, I mean, within minutes from the time they apply, and a nice text and a phone call to them, we've already passed 89% of the salespeople in all other industries, because they stop after the fourth contact. So what happens is we've got that designed to where we know we're going to get past those levels of contacts to get into the 10 and 12 touches. At that point, the prospect begins to, the probability of them talking to you is about 80% higher. And so why I've always been the one who's talking to people about the importance of making that live interaction with the automation, making that phone call, getting them on the phone, they start realizing this is a professional organization. They're communicating with me right away. I might have applied to 3 or 4 different places, but all of a sudden now I've got this communication coming, and man, people know some of this is automation, but they like it because they think, man, I can come over here and they've really got great systems in place to communicate with their people. And then the next thing is I found, Todd, was that when these leads start coming through, what's the most important thing? Because if we're telling them in the ad that we're going to contact them and talk with them, and we want to talk with them within, you know, today or tomorrow, we've got to have our calendar availability, right? We've got to have that set up. So, you know, I've been working with people on how to manage that calendar for their production and their recruiting interviews. So once we started working on just that one thing of calendar availability, then you're realizing your true benefit if you are on a spend with ZipRecruiter and you're spending so many dollars, and we're getting the app cost down to around $5 right now, which is really, really low at a good cost and ROI for your spend. But if you're doing that and you don't have the availability on your calendar and you're trying to set it out maybe 3 days later, think about an A lead that you called on Monday and set for Friday, you're going to get a lot of no-shows, right, Todd? So the same thing would happen with your recruit leads. If you think about it, you want to have your calendar only available today and tomorrow for recruit leads. They don't want to wait a week to talk to somebody about getting a job. Somebody else has already spoke to them from one of our competitors and probably got hired. So when you have your calendar set up right and you have it filled up with recruit people, you're going to get better at your presentation, better at your interviewing. And then all of a sudden, you're going to start being able to hear and listen and feel the right candidate, the right person that would be the person that has the time and wants to do this work. They've watched the videos and been pre-sold and kind of pre-qualified. And I think when we as managers who've decided to recruit, we kind of have to change our mindset, right? It's, you know, we can no longer be average and ordinary. We're now responsible for interviewing the people and their family's responsibility and their financial future. So if we're not prepared to do that, and we're not prepared to be available the day we're asking them to be there, they're going to see that from the very beginning that we're not leading them where they need to be. They need to be led. They need to know that we're going to be available for them all the way through the process. This is why it's been working. So the calendar availability we fixed, all of a sudden people started getting a lot more people on their calendar. Next, once they're on your calendar, how do you get them to show, Todd? Well, what we found is that the manager that's actually going to be doing the interviewing in the morning, he just looks at his calendar. If he's got 5 on there that interviews, he just texts them, hey, this is Max, regional sales manager. I see that you're on my calendar today for 2 Eastern. I look forward to speaking with you. I'll be calling you at 2 p.m. Be ready and available. And so that started making about 80% of the people show up that got on the calendar just by that one text. And so now when you just do those 2 or 3 things, you've just increased and optimized your system to the point where every single day, you know that you can have people on your calendar to recruit. You're not going to recruit them all because you don't want them all. But when you hear the ones you're getting, we're getting about 50% of the people that apply to get on the calendar, then from the calendar to show about 80%. And then that becomes your ability to interview on how many packets you get in and out. Make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. And just like it sounds like with most leads these days, so much of it is pertinent to respond quickly, right? I like your analogy you used there about the importance of picking up the phone and calling these individuals. It's a very competitive market out there. A lot of people are looking for that next superstar in their organization. And 2 to 3 days go by, Max. A lot of these recruits have potentially moved on, looked at other opportunities out there in the marketplace. And so that importance of speed is crucial.
But I mean, Todd, if you really think about the return on investment, I mean, you have to realize that this business is all about leverage, and leverage is all about recruiting and getting people on your team and teaching them duplicatable systems that we've got at Symmetry. And by having a system that, I mean, you've got the best training out there, bar none, period, to get them started. We've got the best leads in the industry in 16 or 17 different types of leads. Then you've got the ability to have a recruiting mechanism that you couldn't go out there and get a third party for the price that it cost you for an owner circle recruit funnel site. So you've got the tools. And you got it. And most of these people at Symmetry obviously are brought up with the right work ethic, and they've got the desire to grow their team. But the ROI itself, I mean, if you think about the long-term value of one unique writer and your investment in recruiting, and then how that increases your compensation and increases your bonuses level. We've talked about this on the Friday calls, but the money that you spend in recruiting, even though it's not an instant gratification like a production sale might be, it is a longer game, right? You got to know that you're in this for a year or two. And when you know that, and you get a unique writer, if you could just get one unique writer a month, the value of that in 12 unique writers and what your spread is and how much you're making on that person, you'll start to really realize that's the name of this game in your business as an insurance agency owner. That's where all your money is going to come from. That's where you're going to be able to get out of production as much as you have to. You're going to be able to pay for your leads that you're using to spend money for your production. So it's so important to understand your business numbers and your ROI, return on investment, when you're doing recruiting. And I think people are starting to really see that they need to take this as serious as their production A leads and make it a combined business effort to recruit and to produce, and get this thing to a point where they can really start realizing some real income on the passive side.
Yeah, and I appreciate all the feedbacks, the comments. I'm trying to pull double duty today and make sure I'm staying on top of the Q&A as well. But Max, I've got a couple of requests. Speak to us a little bit more too about managing that calendar, the importance, the do's, the don'ts, the practical applications we can take away.
I can tell you exactly what I recommend to everybody, because one thing about it is when you start selling, you know that you have a calendar and you're trying to keep especially when you're new, you're giving yourself time in between those production appointments. So in case you go a little long until you get better and you can get tighter on your presentation and everything. Well, here's what I recommend for people when they're first starting, or even people that have been doing this a long time, is that if you have a calendar and you integrate it and you're in this system or whatever system you're in, if you're doing it manually, it doesn't matter. If you set up 15-minute appointments, and the reason I recommend this, even for the people that are doing the automation, is because I want them to see that the market tells you what to do. You don't tell the market what to do. And that means this. There'll be people that want to set an appointment with you in the morning, that applied in the morning. There'll be people that want to set an appointment with you at around lunchtime or in the afternoon, or maybe at 6 o'clock. Well, if you block your calendar to only take calls in the afternoon or only take calls in the morning, then what are you saying to the market? Well, if I can't speak to you, the person I'm applying with, when I'm available to speak, then I'm going to speak to somebody else at another place that's able to speak to me at that time. So what you do is you open up your calendar wide open and start just watching when they come in. Even you may have other production appointments. You may have all kinds of different things on your calendar. I want you to open it up so that you can see what the market's telling you. And every market's different. The market will say, well, some on the East Coast or the West Coast or this state or this city, they may be wanting to come in, many of them in the early morning, many of them in the evening. And when you know that, if you've got all these people in there, and even if you've double booked it, you can always pass those leads off to somebody in your group or whatever you need to do. But what have you done? You've kind of allowed yourself to realize what can really happen on your calendar when you're paying for leads, number one. If you're paying for a cold market, job market, and they're coming onto your calendar and you don't have the availability where you need to be, you're wasting dollars on your calendar, on your spend for your job market, because you don't have the availability on your calendar. So when we did that, Todd, and when I said, everybody, just let's test this for 3 or 4 days, open up your calendar, keep it 15 minutes. Let's just see how many people can get on it. So that way we know that the dollar spend, if we're getting a $5 app, and that's what we've been averaging on these job board ads, they come through. So if we're spending, $100 and we're getting, the apps are coming in at 5, we know exactly how many applications we're going to get. Then if we know that out of that amount of applications, we're going to get about 50% to come to our calendar, we can kind of start planning on what we need to be available for and how to manage our calendar with our production. And so you kind of see when these leads come in, you have to have your calendar wide open. You're going to start really dialing in your ability to understand on a daily basis. Okay, I want to do 4 or 5 interviews a day on recruit. I want to do 3, 4, or 5, whatever I'm doing on production. I can manage my calendar. It's time management, Todd, is what it really boils down to. But you can't know time management until you know what the market's telling you to do. So we tell everybody, open it up. So when we started doing that, calendars started getting full. People started showing up. Packets started going out. Packets started coming back in. Just that one thing. And then the other one thing we did to make them show was that text. So I don't know how to say this. When I've taken individual people and helped them optimize this whole process, the first thing that'll happen, well, I got this many and I didn't get this many on my calendar. There's only so many variables that can happen, Todd, as to why somebody wouldn't get on your calendar. They applied, they're interested. You can take 20, 25% of them. They're not going to be, they may have done something else, changed their mind, watched the videos, decided not to do it. But if you get 100 leads and 25 are gone, that means 75 should get on your calendar. If 75 got on your calendar, you should have 35 people that show up. And so these are the numbers that I'm looking for. And, you're going to have some variables in that number, because if you look at some of the stats that I've got from many of these people that are doing it, some people are getting 50% to show up. Some people are getting 30 or 40% to show up. So I've been teaching how to optimize that show rate from booking on the calendar onto show rate. And these, without, we don't have enough time to go through it all today. That's why we go through this on our Friday calls and team calls, is that once you start understanding this, it's not that difficult. You start really seeing it. Oh, I now know that I can spend this much money. I can get this many candidates in. I can get this many to come on my calendar. I can get this many to show up. And then I start getting better at my recruiting as an individual.
So good, Max. I appreciate it, buddy. And I know we've got a lot of questions coming into about the Friday afternoon, the training that you offer. Guys, we'll get that information up. I was going to put that in a PowerPoint slide, but as you all know, a Zoom link is about 48 pages long and had way more than anybody could write down on it. So we're going to get that texted out to all of the agency owners, and they'll be able to share with their teams as they see fit. And also we'll get that information on HQ in the next couple of days. Give us a couple of days. We'll make sure we get that out hopefully before Friday and make sure that information is available to everyone. And Max, we appreciate you as always, buddy. And you got a few questions down there below. Me and you've been talking. So as we continue on to the national call, Max will be in that text thread, guys, responding to as many of those questions as he can get to. And with that, Max, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, everybody showing up. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Max. Appreciate it, buddy.
Appreciate you, man. Casey, Brandon, let's kick it over to a video before we toss it to you, fellas.
Let's play that video right after leaderboards today. You want to, Brandon?
Sure.
I think
Good.
we should start doing
I
that.
like it. You're a hell of a producer, Casey.
Remember, we're reimagining our calls,
Everything.
and so we're reimagining everything. You are
Everything's on the
absolutely
table, huh?